it's Alexa from Job Pedal, and here we have Steve Van Sweeten and Natalia. Thanks for coming today.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Alexa.
Thank you. So, Steve, you were the general manager of the Panthers, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah, General Manager of Penrith Panthers.
Wow, that's incredible. And you also were the security manager.
Yeah, I was the Corporate Security Director for about 17 years prior to being the General Manager of Penrith Panthers.
That's incredible. Like, that experience is an invaluable experience for you.
It was a great experience because originally it was one site, Penrith Panthers, and then over a number of years they expanded to 14 sites. So, it was just a great experience having a look at trying to roll out one lot of a security program to 14 clubs. Yeah. But they all had different cultures, they all had different demographics. So it was a whole lot harder than one would have envisaged in the early stages.
Oh, absolutely. And now you have your own company called Exact Security.
That's correct, yes.
Wow. So how long have you had that one?
14 years. We've just entered into our 14th year now.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much.
That's amazing. And from the Panthers to this, what's the kind of differences that you've had?
Well, the big difference that I find is that we've got about 40 clubs, registered clubs, and they've all got different leadership styles, they've all got different culture, different demographics, and one size doesn't fit all. So it was, again, a lot harder to be able to replicate the same level of excellence in all of those venues as opposed to having just a small number of venues. It was a whole lot easier to do. So, a lot more difficult now.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge, and challenges bring out the best in us.
Oh, absolutely. So how did you get into security in the first place?
My wife and I made a decision very early that she would stay home with the children and that I would get a second job. So in those days, it was a second job. It was a bouncer. There was no security licences. There was no security training. And so I went and worked in a hotel. I worked the Thursday, Friday and Saturday night. And, that gave us the income. And so that's how I got started in the industry. So.
And then when did you find the Panthers?
I went to Panthers in November of 1988.
Wow.
So,
And that would have been your kind of like big break in the security industry?
Yeah, well, I'd worked in the industry for quite a few years, but when I went to Panthers, I went there as a casual security officer because I had an old Harley Davidson motorbike and I'd blown the motor up. And the intention was to go there for about 4 to 6 weeks, get enough money over the Christmas period, rebuild the bike. But I went there and the opportunities opened up. So, it was a great move, even though I didn't know at the time. It was a great opportunity.
Wow, that's inspirational for a lot of upcoming security guards.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Natalia, so you're currently doing your sector training,
Yes.
right? How are you finding it?
I love it. It's been challenging. It's been rewarding. However, they make it very interactive with a lot of the scenarios, and you have a good chance to learn.
That's incredible. So you were in corrective services, is that right?
Yeah.
So why security?
It's got that potential for growth. There's a lot of people needing security guards at the moment. It's a very stable job. Obviously, during COVID, there's still a lot of things, patrolling, everything like that. Still, you need people. And it's just something where I can further my career in the future.
Fantastic. I know that there's a few students that want to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Who would like to go?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. You come from a corrective services, and you're about to complete your security course. What skills and attributes would you bring to the security industry, coming from prison to the real world?
Yep. So I've dealt obviously with a lot of challenging and challenging situations, and I've learned pretty much how to be resilient and kind of move on and remain calm in situations, which is very important in security, and obviously demonstrating professionalism in everything you do and upholding your integrity mostly.
This is for Steve. What are the benefits of having female security guards?
I think the first thing is I think that they bring a unique ability to be able to diffuse situations very early. What happens with a lot of male security officers, it doesn't matter if they're good negotiators, good communicators, if they've got the right attitude, quite often they're seen as a threat from other males. So the ability of a female security officer is she can come up she's not seen as a threat. And if she's a good negotiator or a good communicator, she has immediate success in de-escalating the situation. So, and one of the other benefits is obviously the female security officers can go into the toilet areas, they can go into restrooms, they can go into areas where males can't go. And there's different times there where there may be like a mother and a child that needs some assistance, needs some help, and we find those female officers, they just have that nurturing, that natural sort of way of nurturing and caring and looking after people. And that adds into that excellent customer service, excellent customer care, which we're all looking for.
Hello, Steve. It's Tony from Sector. How are you?
Good, Tony. How are you?
Good. You spoke about your journey within the security industry and eventually becoming a CEO of Exact Security, which was very impressive, by the way.
Thank you.
So, but how easy is it to get a job in security and maybe one day become a security manager like yourself?
Look, I always say to people, if I can go to Penrith Panthers as a security guard and then leave 20 years later as the general manager of the largest licensed club, I think anybody can do it. And I don't say that to put myself down. I say anybody can do it because I think I'm an average person. It's about how you position yourself, how you apply yourself, how you make sure that you are doing everything you possibly can to further your education, further your development, and also to find good mentors. And I think that's really, really important, to have people that want to help you develop and help you grow. So it's really about positioning yourself. So I think that's the key thing for anybody. If you have a desire and you have a will, there's a way. So.
You've almost finished the security course with Sector. What would you say to any female looking to make security a career path?
Yep. Great question. So a career in security is a career that helps people, which means which women are usually good at, as obviously discussed in this interview. Security officers can have extremely meaningful interactions with members of the public, and your work can lead to greater job satisfaction and personal fulfillment. Completing the Sector course was an eye-opener, and I'm really looking forward to obviously future opportunities in the STAR. What Steve said is right. There is a great opportunity to do some research online and look at security ads on Seek and get a feel for kind of what you want to do out there in the security industry.
So, are there any other questions? Steve, in the industry at the moment, are there people looking for female security officers? Is that in demand?
Oh, absolutely. One of the greatest issues that we have is finding female security officers.
Oh, really?
We've got a lot of our clients that say to us, can you please include an extra female? And we say, well, we'd love to, but we just don't have them at the moment. So I think there's enormous opportunity for everybody in the industry. But right now, I think there's a greater opportunity for females in the industry.
Yeah. I've heard that it's been a little bit difficult to get security officers, and especially female security officers on board. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we've had the pandemic, and what we've seen is that, for instance, all the clubs shut down for 4 months, 5 months. So people went, it's not a secure industry anymore. So people moved into other areas like logistics and truck driving, and so we lost a lot of good people out of the industry. And then, unfortunately, when the club industry opened back up and business opened back up, a lot of people already had alternative employment. So we found it really hard to get people back there. And the second thing, I think, too, people lost focus on building a career in the industry. They were looking a little bit short term. How do I find employment close to home? How do I find good rates? How do I find a lot of hours? So I think they become very short term thinkers, and their vision was a little narrow than what it could have or should have been prior to the pandemic.
Right. What are the benefits of becoming a security officer?
Well, I think the benefits is that it's an enormous growth industry. And I think if you have a look, things are getting worse and not getting better. So there's a bigger requirement for security to partner with police. Like police are like public security, and then you've got private security. And their budgets are always being looked at and cut back. So there's a real hand-in-glove approach between private and public security. So there's enormous opportunities The other thing too is if you have a look, I've seen so many Australian men and women that I knew 15, 20 years ago that started off as a security officer are now security directors, surveillance directors, not only here in Australia, but in Macau. And I was just saying to Natasha a little while ago, I know of a few men and women that have been headhunted to be security surveillance directors in Macau, being paid $250,000 plus US.
Wow.
Yeah.
And almost no tax.
Wow.
And that's, I think, the opportunity.
I mean,
People don't realise
That's attractive.
it's a rewarding career. It's a great career, but it's also financially rewarding as well.
Yes. Wow. Wow. What are you looking for in a security guard?
I think the first thing is attitude. You've got to have an attitude where you like people, you care for people, you want to be a team player, and you want to make a difference. You want to make a difference in the organisation as far as customer service, customer care goes. You want to look after people. So I think attitude's the first thing, and then of course, skill sets. But people can develop skills, people can learn skills. So that's the beauty of sector and a whole lot of other training. If you want to have the right attitude, position yourself, you can grow. So I think that's a big thing. And people that are reliable, people that have integrity, that people have honesty. Again, values are so important in life because values drive behaviour. So if you've got good values, that'll drive great behaviour, that'll drive great outcomes for the business and for the client. And then everybody's a winner.
How do you see values during that interview?
Well, I think it's hard because people come and they can sit there and interview and, you can say, wow, this person's a real deal, this person's great. So there is a certain process of trying to pick the best people out of an interview, but I believe the proof is in the pudding. And that is when people come to start work,
Yeah.
you have mentors and you look for those early signs because one of the big things, people can say I'm a man or a woman of integrity, but what's their behaviour like?
Yeah.
And it has to match. It has to match. And the quicker you can look at that and pick that up, and if you can mentor and you can train and you can sort of coach people to sort of come on board, that's fantastic. But if you can't, well, then obviously they're not right for our industry.
Yeah. Wow. So what kind of venues do you security guard at?
We've got a lot of the big clubs, the registered clubs,
Okay.
all the big
Yep.
clubs, and we've got some other corporate venues as well too.
Nice.
The reason why I like the clubs is obviously my background in the clubs, but I really like the clubs because they're very community-based and they give a lot back to the community. So that for me personally, that makes me feel really good about what we do. And the second thing is our people go into those venues. They're beautiful venues. They're very clean. The culture's great in those venues. They're very low risk as opposed to, say, hotels or any other type of environment. So it's just a great environment for our people to work in. And the people that are in those clubs, they're just great people. We only want to deal with good people.
Yeah.
Life's too short to have those hassles that you don't need to have.
I love that. Are you currently looking for security officers?
Always looking.
Always looking.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to join Exact Security, which sounds like an incredible company and a very community-orientated company, how would they go about that?
If they look at Exact Security, exact information,
Exact information.
Yeah. So if they do that, they can find us. They can find us on the website.
Website.
Yeah.
Yep. They can contact you via email. It's on the
By
website.
email on the website. Yeah.
Mobile.
Yeah, or they can just call through to the office and Exact Security as well too. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're
If
welcome.
anyone is interested in joining Steve's company, it sounds like an incredible opportunity for you to grow your career and grow yourself as a person. So, I mean, you've got me sold
no,
into
thank you.
security. I don't even do security.
Thank you.
But definitely look at sector as well. We've got some really great deals happening at the moment. We can connect you through to Steve and give you the right training. Thank you guys. Thank you both for
so
coming.
much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.